Okay, so I'm going to click the scripting option up here and click New to start a new script. Part of the requirements of the Higher Learning Commission is that we assess our program outcomes. And part of the programming outcomes, any class has any kind of programming in it that we give you a test. Now it's a fairly simple test. It revolves around the for loop, the while loop, and the if statement. Now the test is timed. It's a programming test. If you can follow and recreate what I'm doing here today, you shouldn't have any trouble with the test. Some of you have already taken it many times. It's the same test I give in every programming class. Okay. First off, we need to look at how to put text on our screen here. So let me go ahead and delete everything. So we put that code in there. First import, oops. Let's try it again. Import BPY. I do an A. It selects everything. Paste that in. And then I'm going to press X, delete. And copy that. I'm right clicking on that. And then do a Control V up here. Okay. And I got the code over here. Well, I could show it. If you just do an add text, that puts our text in there. And let me go ahead and do a rotate. Let's see about the, can't see my axis. Do escape. There it is, right in front of my eyes. Okay, rotate about the X. So RX90. Right click that, copy, and go up here and paste. Okay. So if I run that, everything looks good. Okay, now I had to Google this morning because I didn't remember it, so I had to look it up how to set text. Okay, bpy.data.objects, and then the name of the object. You can actually refer to any object this way, not just a text, but if you had a cube on here, you can put cube in there or whatever. And then .data, .body, and that's how you refer to the text. And then whatever you want the text to be. So if I run that, you see it changes to David. Now, if you're wanting to do a number, if you put like a 3 in there, you're going to get an error. It says Python script check message to system console, and remember you do window. There's toggle system console. And it'll tell you can't have a number in their own language. Text curve.body expected a string type, not integer. Okay. So if you do str3, for example, then that'll do that. Okay, we're going to first, using the for loop, we're going to calculate 5 factorial. So add the numbers from, or multiply numbers from 1 to 5. There it is. Okay. Remember with our numbers, there it is. We do a range for x in range. So let's go ahead and do that. For x in range, and I go to 1 to 5, comma 1. I think that goes from 1 to 4, but we'll see. And then bpy.data.objects, text, .data.body equals string x. Okay. See how I went to 4? That's what I was, I wonder if I remember right. So to go to 5, you have to go one more right here. So this will loop from 1 to 5. Now, not that you can probably even see it, but if you want to see the numbers change, that's where we do that refresh. Like I say, I doubt if it'll probably be so fast you won't see it anyway. Oh, there you saw it. Probably a lot more noticeable if you went to like 60. You see it changing like that. Which is something if you wanted to create an animation where you wanted to change numbers, like a countdown or something like that. It'd be kind of a neat part of an animation. Countdown for a rocket to launch or something. You could have the numbers do like that. Okay, let's change that back to 6. Now we're wanting to multiply the numbers from 1 to 5. And let's see if I can remember the comment. Or not remember, but look it up. Pound. Okay. Calculate 5 factorial. Now, on the program, I'm going to ask you to write that it's on the test. I'm not going to hide it. I'll tell you what's on it so you can prepare for it if you want. I'm going to ask you to add all the numbers from 1 to, or from this number to this number. For example, 1 to 50. I want you to add all the numbers from 1 to 50 programmatically. So you'll turn in your code, but you also put the answer in. Some people forget to put the answer in on the test. Now I'm just going to have you hard code it, so you're not getting input from the user. So if I wanted you to multiply numbers from 2 to 6, for example, you put a 2, or 2 to 5, then you put a 2 here and put a 6 there. Okay. So this is called a factorial, by the way, 5 factorial. And what it means is equal 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5. Now I'm going to have a product equals to 1. And then, let's see, I'm having all that, but I could say product is equal to product, and I'll talk about why this works here in a minute, times x. And I could print the result off each time, but since it goes so fast, it probably won't matter anyway. Then down here, I'm going to do my bpy.data.objects text.data.body equals to string product. And let's run that. 120. 120 is our answer. 5 times 4 is 20, times 3 is 60, times 2 is 120. Now let's talk about how this works. Even though we talked about the for loop before. Okay, we got a variable named product stored in memory somewhere. We got a variable called x. It's going to be stored in memory somewhere. So it comes down here, its product equals 1. It sets that equal to 1. Then for x in range, 1. So it goes ahead and puts that equal to 1. And it continues while it's less than 6. So 1 to 5, basically. Important part is this product equals product times x. So it goes and gets the old value of product, which is 1, the value of x, which is 1, multiplies them. 1 times 1 is 1, and then assigns it back to the product. Okay, then it comes up and it changes x to 2. Comes down here, the product equals product times x, gets the old value of product, which is 1, times current value of x, which is 2. 1 times 2 is 2, and assigns that to product. Then it comes up here to the for loop again. So it's at 3, because this doesn't go until 5, or including 5. So then it'll come down here, product equals product times x. So it gets the old value of product, which is 2, times the current value of x, which is 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and assigns that back to product. Then it comes up the for loop and increases that by 1. And comes down, product equals product times x. Gets the old value of product, which is 6, the current value of x, which is 4. 6 times 4 is 24, and assigns that back to product. Comes back, changes this to 5. Then product equals product times x, gets the old value of product, which is 24, times the current value of x, which is 5. Multiplies those together, and that gives us 120, and assigns that to product. Now, when it goes up and increases x by 1, it exceeds, the range. And so that's what causes the for loop to stop. And then it comes down and does this line of code right here. Now, a note on this, the code that'll be on the test will be very similar to this. The difference will be product. You don't initialize it to 1. When you're summing, if I ask you to add numbers, you initialize it to 0. And then you change this as appropriate, and then change this as appropriate. I'll let you figure that part out. Okay. Let's take a look at the while loop, because I'll ask you to add between all the numbers between 2 numbers with a for loop and with a while loop. I know the idea of a test stresses people. Don't stress about it. It's not meant to be stressful. It's just meant to assess your program outcomes. Okay, this is calculate 5 factorial with a for loop. Calculate 5 factorial with a while loop. While loops are right above here. And this is a general idea. You have to initialize it, you do your Boolean check here, and then you have to increase it somewhere in your program. So a little bit different than a for loop. Now we still need to set our, actually, before I do that, I guess I want to create another text object. Okay, so let me come up here. And I'm going to run that. Okay, now I want to move it to the right some, so I'll do RX, move it along the x-axis. Okay, R, what am I doing? GX, move it over to the side here. So come down here, click it with my left mouse button, then right click it, choose copy, and then come here and paste. Okay, let's run that. Okay, so we got that to the side so we can see the results. And now this is called text.001. And you notice whenever I run it, it's still called text.001. So when I refer to this right here, then I'm going to have to put text.001 there. I'm not going to bother renaming or anything like that today. We still set product equal to 1. But now I need to set an index or x equal to 1. So I'll say x equals 1. And while x is less than 6, product is equal to product times x. And then I'll say x is equal to x plus 1. Now we need to write out text.001. Okay. So let me run it, and then we'll talk about the results. Always want to make sure it works first before you start explaining. And we get 120. Okay, so let's talk about how this works. And again, I'm going to ask you to write a while loop, adding all the numbers from this number to this number. Now, if I said all the numbers from 2 to 5, it's simple. You just come here and you put a 2 instead of a 1. So it's easy to change in terms of that. Okay, so where's my notepad? Still have product, which is equal to 1, x, which is equal to 1. This is continuing while x is less than 6. Well, x is 1. 1 is less than 6. So it goes down and it says product equals product times x. Gets the old value of product, which is 1, times current value of x, which is 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and then assigns it back to product. X equals x plus 1 would then increase this by 1. So it goes to 2. Comes back, does the Boolean check while x is less than 6. 2 is still less than 6, so that's true. So I'll go through and do my lines of code. Product equals product times x. So I'll take the old value of product, which is 1, times current value of x, which is 2. 1 times 2 is 2, and assigns it back to product. And then x equals x plus 1 increases x by 1. Comes up, does a Boolean check, checks to make sure x is less than 6, which it is. 3 is less than 6. Does product equals product times x, so it gets the old value of product, which is 2, times current value of x, which is 3, which gives us 6, and assigns that back to product. And then increases x by 1. Comes up, does our Boolean check. 4 is less than 6. So it goes and gives the old value of product, which is 6, times current value of x, which is 4. 6 times 4 is 24. And assigns that back to product. And then x equals x plus 1 increases x by 1. Now it goes up and checks to see if x is less than 6. Well, it is. 5 is less than 6. So product equals product times x, gets the old value of product, which is 24, times current value of x, which is 5, and multiplies those together, and I get 120, and assigns that back to product. Again, you're adding between two numbers would be pretty much the same, except for initially this would equal to 0, not 1. Because if you're adding numbers, before you get any numbers, your sum is 0. Now you want to change these to be appropriate variable names. Don't use product. But that's second question on the test. Third question on the test is an if statement. And since it's not so easy to get input from the user in an animation is meant to create like a MP4 file, for example, something you play, not something you interact with, then we're going to hard code it. Not saying there isn't a way to get input, but it's changed from what I used to use, so I'm making sure how to get input. We may Google that after, because we'll have some extra time here, because I'm not going to go on new topics, so I won't give you time to work on take tests and so forth. Used to be they had a game engine within Blender. They got rid of it. Within the game engine, you could do tons of interactivity with the user, because that's what it's meant for, to create a game. I guess they decided that their focus should be on animations, modeling, instead of game development. Probably a wise thing. Nobody was using it for a professional game. Okay, so I'm going to hard code like sales is equal to 500. And if is very similar to the while. Here's the code on it so you can read about it before the test, if you're not comfortable with it. But it's very simple. You just do a Boolean check, if, and then a Boolean check, and then colon, and then if it's true, it'll do whatever line is indented. So if sales is greater than 300, for example, then I'm going to say BPY, and actually I probably should have a new object. So we create a new object. Which one's a new object? That's a new object. Rotate it, translate it. Include this code in. Shift that over 4. Include this code in also with your test, because that really is part of it, where I can just copy it and edit, paste it in, and test it. So then, this is going to be called text.002, I believe. So bpy.data.objects text.002 data.body equals to greater than 300. Now, in addition to that, we can do an else. Let's see if I just an else by itself with colon, of course. is what the default is if the above isn't true. So else dpy.data.objects text.002 data.body equals to not greater than 300. Okay, so if we run this, then you see we get this greater than 300. Because it does this Boolean check and sees that, hey, yeah, sales is greater than 300. So comes out and does this line of code at line 36 and then drops down to line 39 and there isn't any other code, so then it finishes. Now, instead of 500, let's change that to 50 and run that. You see not greater than, zoom out, 300. And again, I'm just going to give you a very simple if statement program. Hopefully I didn't actually just work the one I usually put in there. I don't even remember what is I put in there. I copy it from previous classes. Okay, now that's going to be the three things that's on the test. It's programming based. You'll edit, copy your code. So you highlight that. You can right click on it and choose copy and then paste that in to the test. Make sure there's nothing really to show answer wise here, but on these you'll get an answer. A lot of people just put the code in there, but they don't actually write what the answer is. You have to write the answer also. That's part of the test. Okay, now I said, can't remember what I was going to show you. I think I'm becoming less and less of a morning person. Oh well. Well, I'm gonna put a test out there on this, so you can look at that. Let me copy this code. There we go. Now I'm gonna show some where some items are, and I'm gonna put a tutorial out for you to work on. It's got a lot of settings and so forth. I started putting them all into a PowerPoint, and I realized it was just going to be too much. It's water, so water simulation. So I'm going to show you just some very basics where things are located at, and then from there you should be able to figure it out. Hopefully, it's changed a little bit. They keep changing it, so it's hard to get the exact. Okay, so I got a cube here. I'm going to do an S for scale. Make it a little bigger that way. I'm going to scale along the y-axis. So I'll do S, Y. That way, viewport. Display as wire, so I can see through it. Okay. Now, I'll go to the physics. Go. And this is the part that's changed a little bit. Here I click fluid, and that'll add the fluid. And the type, I can do a drop down here. And you see I got domain, flow, vector. I'll choose domain. Tell what type I'll change the domain type to liquid. And some of these resolutions, I'll talk about those. That make it look better, and so forth. Boy, I changed my viewport back. Now, a domain is what's going to contain your water. So your animation is going along. Maybe the water is in an ocean. This would be the big box around the ocean. So your water wouldn't flow all over the place. You can think of it along those principles. Now within that, I need to have a water source. And so you add another object. Okay, cylinder, I guess. That's smaller. Rotated about the x-axis, I guess. So RX 90. Do a GY to move it along the y-axis. Do a GZ, move it along the z-axis. Okay. And now if I go to the physics button here, if I choose fluid and choose type, see how there's a flow? This is water flowing in and water flowing out. Flow type, let's choose liquid again. If I choose flow behavior, see there's geometry, but there's inflow and outflow. I choose inflow. And this is where our water will flow in. Now you have to tell where it's flowing in from. See the flow source, you can choose mesh or some other, no, there's only mesh. You can set your velocity. Excuse me. And then let's choose it here, the Y. This would tell you, is it going to come out from the side, from the top, the bottom, so forth. So positive and negative, you can figure out come one side or the other in terms of water flowing out of it. Let's see, is outflow obstacle. Drop another cube in here. Add mesh cube. We'll do an SY, I guess. Change it on that. SX. Okay, and then I'll go into edit mode, choose face select, choose the top face and press delete, and choose which one? I think vertices. No, I was wrong. Control Z. Let's see. X. How about face? Okay, face. Now there's a and I talk about it in the video. There's an add modifier where you can do a which one? Subdivisions surface, I believe. maybe thinking of a different one. Um, but that'd probably work. Then if I click apply here, yeah, maybe that'd be an object mode. Apply it. Do have to be in object mode. Okay, so I got that. And then you go to your physics, and you choose your fluid and the type. This is where it's different than the video, which is why I wanted to show this. And let's see, effector, and it's going to be a collision. And then talks about different settings there. At that point, you got to bake it, and it goes through all that. You got to bake it to get a decent look for your animation. And I may leave it up to you which one you want to do, because this individual has put these videos out there, some really good water animations out there. Let's see if I remember where Bake's at. Doesn't feel like I'm gonna remember it, but there is a bake option, and the bake option allows you to uh, kind of create the animation and apply all the rendering and so forth. I don't think if I click play here that it does anything. Well, there's other settings too. So I haven't showed you everything. Um, but anyway, that's the basics of that. You can do. They have one where a ball is falling into water, kind of splashing around. Let me see if I can locate that website just to show you. I got my PowerPoint somewhere. There it is. That's pretty glad when this election gets done. It's harder than forcing their political ads on me on both sides. Okay, this is Olov 3D, and very quick water animation is right here. Now this was 3 years ago. The version of Blender is different, but what I've showed you should help you just to do the very basic one here. You'll go from the very basic one to some of these other ones that are just fantastic. And he walks you through it step by step. Um, I walked through one of the water animations last night. I guess I went to videos. And yeah, it came out pretty good. Even the ones a year ago may be slightly outdated. That's why this morning I made after when I got here to install the newest version of Blender. So you would see the very newest where everything's located at and so forth. Now, if I forgot a topic where something's located at, just let me know. I'll locate where it's at and then tell you. But anyway, the two things for this week will be the test. Um, Again, 3 questions, programming based. You put your code, put the answer. Second thing that, and it is timed. I usually give lots of time for it, so it's not a huge issue. I just don't know how to put a test out there and not put a time on it. And then the other item is a water animation, your choice. Um, pick one out here that he has for animating water. Now, some of these to do the rendering, what he says, make it really look good. I wouldn't recommend it. Choose your resolution fairly small. You can get fantastic results, with some of these. Like right here, I think he recommends changing this to 200. And you can if you have a fairly decent graphics card and machine and so forth. But um, I'm happy with very blocky water. Yeah, you'll see from his videos how it should look. And if you have the patience, you can create that. You can create that. Now, anyway, that's two items for this week. So we'll go ahead and stop there.